Hey all, welcome to ShareTreck. This is Raj here, and this segment is what I call as an editorial segment. Every once in a while on a weekend, I decide to open up and share my thoughts with the audience and invite the audience's comments and point of view so that we can all be better informed. Today's editorial is going to talk about three topics. The first one is artificial intelligence. The second one is going to be whether we are going in a recession or soft landing and about how the markets might react. So, my thoughts about that. The third one is about political risk for the US and inviting your feedback if you live in US. So, these are the three things I'm going to talk about. So, let's get started. Welcome back, friends. The first thing that I want to talk about is AI disruption. And why should we retail investors care? Well, because most retail investors are working 9 to 5. And as per experts, AI will automate white collar jobs and empower employees to become more productive. I have a slightly different take on this. I think that AI will not only take over white collar jobs and enhance the workers' capability, but it would also merge with robotics and financial networks in order to take over even blue collar jobs as well. We already have robotaxi concepts, and if you recollect, Back to Future had a very clumsy robotaxi which takes the money and also drives you across, and something like that. So the financial networking, along with artificial intelligence and robotics, the confluence of those can enable doing a lot of services and collecting remuneration. So towards that end, I think we could end up having robo house cleaners, robo plumbers and electricians, robo handymen. For that matter, a forklifter's job could also be at risk because forklifts can be automated with AI. And there is a lot of sensor technology these days. Cars park themselves, cars drive themselves. So if you ever look at a video of Amazon warehouse, you will feel absolutely confident that sooner rather than later forklifts are going to be automated. And because of all of this, I think the governments need to think ahead around tax policies, around industrial policies and infrastructure policies. And also corporations need to be responsible stakeholders to ensure that we do not have mass unemployment. If handled properly, these innovations could enable people everywhere to lead a high quality of life, and people will now be able to pursue their passion without worrying about basic necessities. What do I mean by that? For example, if you have robotic cultivation and robotic harvesting and robotic transportation of food grains, robotic manufacturing of food products and all that. So it's going to make sure that people have more time to think on higher things like getting educated, pursuing creative pursuits like painting, poetry, artistry, astronomy, scientific pursuits, and so on. So people can get self-actualization. This is possible when the wealth transfer is equitable and the productivity gain due to AI and robotics is equally distributed between the capital holders and the consumers or workers. And that's the most important thing. And I think if that's handled properly, and if the corporate stakeholders do not lobby against a sensible approach, then I think we are in for a golden period, something akin to what I would call as Star Trek economy, where money is no longer an issue. People are going to look at being the best version of themselves professionally, socially, and personally. And there would not be any need to cheat or anything like that, because money no longer is going to distort relationship between people. So that's the way I view it. That's a positive way of looking at it. If any of you disagree, please put that in the comment, because we need to have this discussion. We are going to see that future very soon. Next topic is about soft landing or recession. The market has priced in 5 rate cuts in 2024. Given the strong employment numbers and low unemployment, if Fed were to change this assumption by hinting at less than 5 rate cuts, it could see the stocks drop. And right now, yields have been dropping, and they moved up just a little bit last week after looking at the employment data. The dropping yields make the shares look attractive and the share prices to go up. A change in the Fed rate cut outlook forwards could see yields increasing, and that could upset the stock price. Some people say, look at China, their economy has slowed down, their factories are shutting down. So it means that the US consumer is also not buying enough and the US economy may slow down. For that, I would point to the recent blockbuster sales from Amazon. I think it was $9 billion or something. And also somewhere else I read that US is getting more goods from Canada and Mexico as compared to China. So the purchasing has shifted away from China to other countries, including Canada and Mexico. So we need to watch the economic data closely. Chief Powell will speak next week, and that could either reinforce status quo, which is most likely, or could cause an upset, which is least likely, in my opinion. So I would like to get you guys to give some feedback in the comment section and let me know what is your view, what's going to happen next week, because our QQQ is as well as S&P and other indices are all positioned at a very, very critical level. Are they going to go up further? Or are they going to drop down? And if they're going to go up, it's the right time to get into the bandwagon, maybe invest a little more money. But if they're going to fall, I think this will be the time to keep the powder handy and keep the money handy so that you can buy it on its way down and dollar cost average with really good companies. So that's what I would like to say. And then coming to the political risk for US. Friends, there is this concept that you get nose blind. So what is the concept of nose blind? So if you live in a house and you're cooking in the house using garlic and other things and you cook and all that stuff, you don't feel the aroma after some time. But if someone else opens the door and walks in, they get a strong whiff of all the stagnant spice flavors and everything that has been going round and round your house. And the fact that you don't realize it and somebody else can feel it is called being nose blind. So people generally get nose blind in their own house and they don't understand that there is odors in their house. It takes a visitor to point that out. Now, why am I talking about being nose blind? That is because no one is talking about US political risk in the US financial circles. The only one place where I saw any talk about US political risk was a Harvard Law paper of September 2023. I'm putting the link in the description so that you can read it. Now I'm going to show it to you and I'm going to read a little bit from there, not everything, and then I'll come back to my commentary. This is the paper from Harvard Law School Forum on Corporate Governance, and it was posted by Stephen Davis, who happens to be a senior fellow at the Harvard Law School program on corporate governance and co-organizer of the Capital Plus Constitution project. I think this gives Stephen a very, very good vantage point to have an idea of what's happening. And Stephen has done some polls also, informal polls, or as they say, anonymous polls, not informal, anonymous polls. So I'm going to read a little bit from here before I give you my opinion and ask yours. So he says calls to overturn elections and limit the voting in the US are having powerful long-term but under-the-radar impact on the financial world. First hard evidence surfaced on August 1, 2023 when Fitch Ratings downgraded the US credit level citing deteriorating governance standards. So Fitch has already downgraded US once. And now, according to a first non-partisan probe of investor opinion in the wake of January 6, 2021 insurrection at the Capitol, some 90% of big institutional investors believe threats to democracy in the US are rising. Look at the number, 90%, okay? But worryingly, less than 30% of these same investors are confident that US public companies are today equipped to manage the political risk. Indeed, on average, respondents estimated that only some 45% of public corporations are well prepared to handle political risk to their business. That means 60% of these investors are not confident that US public companies are today equipped to manage the political risk. Okay, so they say released on August 24, 2023, It says, released on August 24, 2023, the survey was conducted anonymously and was fielded jointly by the Brookings Institution and States United between January 30 and April 21, 2023, which is very recent. It drew responses from 22 institutional investors representing almost 10 trillion in assets under management, the research in part of the Capital Plus Constitution project. Tapping leading figures in the investor and business worlds as well as academic and political experts, C+C's dual mission is to explore the interaction of business and democracy in the wake of January 6, 2021 insurrection, and to understand whether non-partisan risk mitigation steps are available to institutional investors, including in connection with the 2024 presidential election cycle. This is forward-looking. In the C+C survey, political risks were defined as interference with electoral process, disruption to orderly transfer of power, deterioration in checks and balances across branches of governments, and or erosion of the rule of law. And C+C has sponsored multiple off-the-record investor roundtables and 2 papers, Is Democracy Failing and Putting Our Economy at Risk? You guys should take some time to read that, by Brookings Institute's senior fellows William Galson and Elaine Kamerek. And the other one is The Financial and Economic Dangers of Democratic Backsliding by Lina Mosley, Professor of Politics and International Affairs at the School of Public and International Affairs and in the Department of Politics at Princeton University. I don't want to read this whole article to you, but I would like to tell you that this is a serious paper from serious people, and it would be really nice if you guys could have a look at it, especially our American audience. Please have a look at it and the 2 articles that is mentioned, check them out and give me your feedback. Now, here is what I'm thinking. Logically, if I think like Vulcan, like Dr. Spock or Mr. Spock, if I think like Mr. Spock logically, I would say that Trump should not win because he lost while he was president. So after losing as president, now he has got indictments on him which he didn't have before. He has made statements which are not favorable, which he had not done before while he was still president. So given all these things, the chances of him winning is 0. However, polls are showing Trump beating Biden, and these polls will be used by Trump to deny the 2024 election result if Trump loses. Because what he will say is, look at those huge crowds that came to my rallies. Look at all the polls that showed me beating Biden. And now, after the election, these guys who are conducting the elections are telling that I have lost. I don't believe it. The election has been rigged. And what would happen then is anybody's guess. And political instability means fragile rule of law, fragile ownership rights, and fragile societal terms of engagement. You don't know whom you can trust and whom you cannot trust. You don't know whether anything is reliable at all and would work the way we thought it was. Dictatorships end up being oligarchy, where all big enterprises are owned by the family or cronies of the dictator. It's unthinkable for America to become a dictatorship, but just 4 years ago, it was unthinkable that an ex-president would stage an insurrection, deny reality, be charged on multiple indictments, and would dox judges, their families, witnesses, etc., and still not be in jail. If anyone were to do even 0.1% of what Trump has done, they would already be in jail. The judiciary is moving very slowly and giving a lot of deference to him as being ex-president, and he's constantly referring to himself as president, which is totally wrong. And all of this is adding risk for us investors, in my personal opinion. I remember Michael Cohen, who spent a year in jail for what Trump did. He mentioned that in, I think, CNBC, I suppose. He said that you guys are not believing Trump. He's saying what he is going to do. When he says he's going to become a dictator, be sure that he's going to be a dictator. And on day one, he will call Elon Musk and he will ask him to sign a dotted line on a document and take over all SpaceX, Tesla, everything, and give it off to his children. And he will give $1 billion to Elon Musk and ask him to go away. Now, you guys may say this is not going to happen, but already see all the things that we thought was not possible, which Trump has already done, and nobody has been able to do anything to push him back. That's what Michael Cohen said. Okay. Now, if I was to look at how I formed all this opinion, of course, it has come through media. And I think in the United States, the media has lost its way, and both left-wing media and right-wing media have changed their approach. Instead of saying we are going to report the news as it is, they are saying that if I report the news as it is, I'm going to lose a lot of audience. So they are looking at their audience, doing focus groups, finding out what their audience wants to hear, and giving them exactly what they want to hear. And that has no bearing with the truth. Whether it is the right-wing media or the left-wing media, they're all playing to the fear of their constituents. And in this process, what is happening is the US is getting polarized, and people are not having the dialogue. There is no negotiation. So nobody knows what's going to turn out in the long run because of this. Moody's has already downgraded USA once for governance deficit, and a profit motive run media is not helping either. And it's just polarizing the society. Whether Biden wins or not in 2024 is a moot point. If he wins, Trump is going to say election was rigged. And if Biden loses, Trump is anyway going to become a dictator. So either way, I'm thinking that there is going to be a lot of instability on the run-up to November 2024 and beyond. So what do we do as retail investors to make sure we protect value? As far as I'm concerned, I'm in Canada. So my options are to take out my US dollars and keep it in either gold or Bitcoin or Canadian shares or Canadian dollar. So I have that option. So what are Americans going to do? People who live in US, whose all assets are denominated in US dollar. Are you going to be nose blind, or are you by any chance nose blind? So what I'm requesting is take aside your political beliefs. Look objectively, read the Harvard Law article and the two documents that it refers to, two articles that it refers to, the two papers, and then put in the comments what you think is the situation with the US. Do we have a risk for our investments on the run-up to the 2024 elections? So whether you're in the red state or blue state, doesn't matter. I have no axe to grind in this except to safeguard my investments. And I think all of us, whether you're conservative or democratic, we all share that as a common objective. So please be absolutely honest. Please be unbiased and read all those things. Talk to your friends and others. And then please put your opinion in the comments, whether we should really worry about political risk or it's overblown and everything will be fine come 2024. With that, my friends, I would like to finish this editorial, and it was a refreshing task to make this video. Thanks and have a great day. Bye for now.